What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. You're with Chris, and today I'll be giving my spoiler-free review of All the Colours of the Dark by Chris Whitaker, his fourth novel. Now this one was epic on so many levels that by the time I finished it, I was left drained and mentally exhausted, so much so that I took the rest of the day and the night off from starting something else. So let's start how I always like to, with what the book is about, taken from the cover. Late one summer, the town of Montclair is shattered by the abduction of teenager Joseph Patch Macaulay, nobody more so than St. Brown, who will risk everything to find her best friend. But when she does, it will break her heart. Patch lies alone in a pitch-black room until he feels a hand in his. Her name is Grace. And though they cannot see each other, she lights their world with her words. But when he escapes, there is no sign she ever even existed. Left with only her voice and her name, he paints her from broken memories and charts an epic search to find her. As years turn to decades and hope becomes obsession, Saint will shadow his journey on a darker path to hunt down the man who took them and set free the only boy she ever loved, even if finding the truth means losing each other forever. I knew going into this that I would really enjoy it, given that it was spoken about very favourably on all social media platforms and YouTube in particular, and especially since it captured my interest from the very first page with this spellbinding prose. The way Chris Whitaker explores small town life and coming of age elements is unbelievable. Now, I think the biggest impact the book had on me was how one person could have such a lingering, lifelong effect and impression on the other, with the sweeping epic story spanning from 1975 all the way through to 2001. So much happens over the course of the novel with the characters' lives, it just changes them forever in permanent and profound ways. The pacing was great. Even though the story had a literary tone to it, there was a murder mystery at its heart involving the relentlessness of this serial killer operating all across the country. The fact that it had 261 chapters also moved the story along at a cracking pace as well, because the chapters are very short, maybe 1 to 1.5 pages each on average. It just keeps you turning those pages. And I also got caught up in all of the drama with the characters. There was heartbreak, there was intensity, there was joy, there was sorrow, there was romance, there was unrequited love. Having your wishes unfulfilled when it come to a couple of certain characters was frustrating as well, but also logical. Now let's talk about some characters here. Now I have deliberately left a few off this review because if you are thinking of picking up the book for the first time, I want them to be surprises for you. So let's start with Patch in particular, who has one of the most incredible evolutions I've ever read in a character's story. His relentless search for Grace instills in him a talent that would otherwise become unrealized. Now, the motivation that his time in the dark fueled in him is extraordinary, and how his experiences change him forever. It's just remarkable. As a result of Patch's experiences, Saint's character takes an unexpected turn as well. She never gives up on him, even when he becomes tied up with the town's homecoming queen. She endures heartache in its own right, and she has her own personal experiences and relationship to deal with a certain partner, and how her character evolves is equally as impactful as Patch's. So you think if Patch hadn't been abducted, both their lives would have been completely different, but because of this experience that upended their lives, their destiny changed overnight. Which was quite remarkable and very well written about. Now, the character who is accused of these horrendous crimes, no names mentioned here, who isn't what you think, is very well done, and it keeps you guessing all the way through the book. So someone there has come under suspicion, but it turns out it completely turns in another direction, which you don't expect. Now, Sammy is the town's rich drunk, and he's very entertaining to read about, and he is a character with many layers. On the surface, he has some bravado and tough guy elements and a bit of a smartass, but deep under those layers is a character that has a really good heart and remains a constant of Patches all through the book as well. Chief Nix, the local lawman, is very well regarded and has a really good reputation amongst the townfolk, but he harbours an earth-shattering secret that is revealed at the end of the book, which leaves you reeling. It's just really, really good. I can't wait for you to read it if you haven't read this one. The writing quality is excellent. It drew me in immediately. Chris Whitaker creates vivid, multi-layered characters who are larger than life, life. You develop feelings for these characters because you do spend a lot of time with them and you follow them across a third of their lives, and it just keeps your interest, and the clues that are sprinkled throughout the book are very irresistible as well, because there's always that underlying plot line of the murders of these girls and how it needs to be solved, and it must be solved. And he really doesn't waste any words either. He makes every word count, so you're not being bogged down with lengthy descriptions or any extra exposition or anything like that. He just gets into the story, and the characters drive this story, which is unusual because it is a thriller in many senses, but there's literary tone to it as well, and the characters just drive the narrative really, really well, which is a bit unusual in a book that has a serial killer in it. So very, very well done. Some standout moments here. The payoff at the end where multiple strands of the plot are tied up brilliantly is great. The answers are a long time coming, so you have to be patient. I found myself getting a little bit impatient at various points in the book. It is just under 600 pages, and you do have to wait for the answers, but you do get the answers in a very big way because there are massive revelations here. Patch and Saint's relationship is very, very sweet at the beginning, and I really love the innocence of it. And when destiny impacts their lives, they go off in different directions, which is very disappointing, but it's also logical as well. And it would be interesting if Patch hadn't been abducted, how their relationship would have blossomed, and I would have liked to have read about that. But their relationship evolved in a very different way, which was also fairly satisfying as well. Getting the closure about Grace was a real highlight. It's worth every second of time spent with these characters, because you do get the answers that you are longing for. Even though the book it is a little bit long, but it's still brilliantly written, if that makes sense. So I really enjoyed the book. The mystery with the red herrings thrown throughout to throw you off the scent is just brilliant. The whole thing messed with my emotions. It messed with my head. It kept me guessing all the way through. And these characters are going to linger with me for a long time. And I would be surprised if you pick up this book and read it. I'd be surprised if the characters don't get under your skin like they did with me. So there you go, guys. That is it for my spoiler-free review of All the Colours of the Dark. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers, and I will promise to deliver the best content I can. If you've read the book, drop me a line in the comments below. Let's compare notes. Let me know what you thought. But if you haven't read the book, just get it, because you won't regret it. The writing is so good. But until the next video, guys, happy reading.